I never imagined I would one day ask myself this question, not out loud, not even silently. But there it was, echoing in my mind during the quiet moments of our marriage. Why doesn't my husband desire me anymore? I thought I understood my emotions, my relationship, even my fears. But what I didn't know was that a resource existed that could help me rebuild my life. You will find it in the description and comments. At that time, I wasn't searching for answers. I was trying to survive the slow erosion of intimacy. At first, the change was subtle, less touch, fewer looks that lingered. Affection became practical instead of passionate. I told myself it was normal. Life gets busy, stress happens. Desire fades and returns, that's what people say. I made excuses because facing the truth felt too dangerous. Because admitting that I was no longer desired felt like admitting that something was fundamentally wrong with me. The conflict grew quietly. Nights passed without closeness. When I reached for him, his body felt distant, almost unfamiliar, not rejection in words, but an absence. An absence can be louder than any insult. I started questioning myself in ways I never had before. Am I less attractive? Have I changed too much? Did I stop being interesting? I compared myself to the woman I used to be, the one he couldn't keep his hands off, and wondered where she had gone. What hurt the most was not the lack of sex. It was the lack of being wanted. Desire is not just physical. It is psychological. It is the feeling of being chosen, seen, craved. And slowly, that feeling disappeared. Conversations became transactional. Intimacy was replaced by routine. And I began to feel invisible inside my own marriage. The breaking point came one night when I realized I was planning my behavior around not being rejected. I stopped initiating. I stopped dressing for myself. I stopped expressing desire altogether. I told myself I was being understanding, but deep down, I was protecting myself from pain. And that was when I asked the question I had been avoiding. What does it do to a woman when her own husband no longer desires her? The answer was devastating. It erodes self-worth. It creates anxiety. It makes love feel conditional. I realized that my confidence was quietly tied to his desire, and as it faded, so did my sense of value. I wasn't just losing intimacy, I was losing myself. The realization came slowly, through painful honesty. This wasn't only about attraction. It was about emotional distance, about unresolved resentment, about stress, routine, unspoken needs, and emotional neglect on both sides. Desire doesn't disappear overnight. It withdraws when connection weakens, when admiration fades, when emotional safety is replaced by familiarity without presence. I also had to face something uncomfortable. I had abandoned myself in the process of trying to keep the marriage stable. I stopped prioritizing my own emotional and psychological needs. I became a caretaker, a problem solver, a peacemaker, but not a woman who felt alive. Desire cannot thrive where identity disappears. Rebuilding began with me, not with him. I stopped chasing his validation and started reconnecting with myself. I explored my own emotions, my boundaries, my unmet needs. I rebuilt my self-esteem independently of his response. And something shifted, not immediately in him, but in me. I became grounded again, present, emotionally centered. I stopped asking, why doesn't he want me? And started asking, who am I becoming when I stop wanting myself? I learned that desire is deeply linked to emotional polarity, presence, and self-respect. It is not demanded. It is evoked. And sometimes the most painful truth is this: you cannot force desire, but you can reclaim your worth. And that reclamation alone changes everything, whether the marriage heals or not. Today, I understand that lack of desire is not a verdict on your value. It is a signal, a message pointing to deeper emotional dynamics that must be addressed honestly and courageously. And no matter the outcome, a woman should never disappear to keep love alive. At the end of my journey, he discovered guidance in a resource that helped him face anxiety and rebuild his life. You can access it too. The link is in the description and comments. Because healing intimacy begins with self-worth, not desperation. True freedom begins in the mind and only then appears in life. If this story resonated with you, like the video and subscribe to Love and Mind for more content on relationships, emotional intimacy, and self-esteem.